get started here. Um, Let me turn down the music on my end. I know you guys can't hear it, but it's going to distract me as I babble on. All right, so this is like long anticipated because I kept thinking, oh, I'll do it tomorrow, and then tomorrow turned into a trash fire, and then I was like, oh, well, then surely the next day won't be a trash fire. Turns out life doesn't necessarily work that way. Um, all right, so here's where we left off. Thoughts when I opened it is that it's very hey hey it's very purple. It's more purple than I remembered, and so I think we might try to change that. Um, I don't, like to balance it out, we gotta go opposite on the color wheel, which is yellow. But I don't know if just like nudging the color balance is really gonna do it. It might. It warms it up a little bit. The thing that's looking very purple is the background here. Um, and that's like it's kind of okay, but I mean maybe if we just like change the shine. See, like that looks crazy. But maybe the blue would even it out a little, like that. Kind of makes it more building-y. I'm not sure. We're gonna revisit that. We're gonna revisit that. That's for future me to figure out. Okay. But for now, let's not deal with that. Yeah, the blue might feel like a little more see like I'm torn because it's like on the one hand you have city glow and on the other hand you have like sunsetty kind of glow. See, but desaturate, no. Desaturate's like a freaking cop out. I don't want to desaturate. Like I want it to be bright. That's the thing. Um, let's select just the buildings. Like I want the world that Superman. I mean, like desaturating is a valid technique, but for what I wanted to do with this, like I wanted Superman to live in a like bright space. Uh, I'm going to talk about the week being a trash fire and what you can expect as a colorist and the trash fires that you can expect at home. Um, because this was uh, not a typical week, but not atypical either. It's like right in the middle. Uh, let's see, just for shits and giggles. Let's see desaturated. So like desaturating works and it still retains a lot of its color because of the shine, but here's the thing. I don't want to do gray buildings. Like I just don't. I feel like I always do gray and I want to get away from that and I want to use these moments as like practice. So let's just try adding like a little bit of yellow, a little bit of red. See like now they look a little more golden-y and I think that it helps. I think that I might be able to. Oh, we are actually working within the purple and not within the purple. So let's select all the purple. Is this okay? Yeah, it's all right. Um, let's also try to just fade them a little bit. Let's just make them a little more peachy. Hey, hey. Uh, yeah, I think that works a little better. Here's what it looked like when we started, and I think that works a little bit better. So this is kind of a lesson of like when I was working on it, I got kind of lost in the weeds of the thing. And sometimes when you stare at something for a long time, your eyes get tired, You're not making as good judgment calls. You're thinking, oh, just purple, we got it, that's fine. And you start rendering the thing, you get into the nuance, and you lose the forest. You just see trees. So I think that's a good solution. Um, and we're gonna work on Superman now. Um, one of the things, so I was doing kind of like a chunky brush, just like gesture in what we're doing with Conte 2 in the Kyle Webster brushes. But we're gonna get a little more, especially with the faces, we're gonna get a little more focused and a little tighter with the lasso. So let's do that. All right, so we're gonna have light coming down like just straight down, which means like this is gonna be lit the most in here. Let's let's kind of just grab all the light parts. That didn't work because we had selected the whole canvas. There we go. Um, we're gonna grab the light parts and just like throw a gradient of screen on it to kind of huh. The nose seems a little narrow compared to but I lost, admittedly, I lost some of Kyler's structure in the nose when I made it black and white only in the line art, so that might be partially on my end, but we're going to try to make it work. So we're going to take all the parts that are the light parts and kind of just select them. And this is very basic, we're thinking about it in two tones, light and dark, rather than like the subtlety of like what is actually going to be happening on a face. Um, like obviously we're going to be catching highlights on the lip and on the chin more so than just like the whole face. But we're going to, like anything, we're going to go very, very general to very, very specific. So let's take a grad, set it to screen. Why is Superman always squinting? Because he's always smiling. He's the Boy Scout. Um, I mean, I feel like that's just like the traditional way that artists represent him. So, oh, we went over the black because we're geniuses. Nothing is broken. Everything is fixable. All right. Yeah, it's just the way that artists draw him because Superman's kind of personality is this like happy dude. Like he's not, especially in like situations like this. He's um like excited about saving this kid or whatever. We're just gesturing in some highlights. Doesn't have to be perfect. And it is definitely not perfect. uh yeah, he's like supposed to be the best of us, and you would think that the best of us would be smiling. Okay. So we have on the nose, we're kind of like shading one part of the nose and then um, highlighting the other. So the nose is a plain, like on the face, the nose has like a front part and then two sides and then the face. So we're gonna try to play with that to do some interesting shading. It's set to screen. We want it set to normal. So we're just gonna try to like amp it up, but it isn't like straight edges. So we're going to try to just cushion it a little bit with the regular flat color. set to like 30% and just kind of like soften it up. Um, this is a little bit dark on this side of the face, even though this side of the face would be in more shadow than normal. We're still like going to be kind of well lit, so and we're going to do the same thing, just like soften it up a little, soften it up a little. And we're going to try to do the same thing here where we kind of soften this up. This is like a really like hard light source, and we want to just keep it soft. This is something that I struggled with for a long time with my art, is like how to soften things up and like how to uh, make light sources not feel like black white, you know, like shadow highlight, and just kind of like get subtle with it a little bit. We're gonna select this whole thing. Cause I for the longest time I was working on projects, and when I was starting, it was like that kind of stuff was uh, it was too it was like the finer detail, and I was still struggling with the stuff that was like the bigger picture stuff. So it was like, well, you know, I can focus on that, but the whole piece isn't even ready to like. I could have the most subtle rendering in the world, and if like the color theory is bad, you know, like then there's like nothing you can do. So Superman's rocking a pretty tight nose ring right now. I don't know how they pierced his Man of Steel flesh, but let's fix that. So Kyler had like this little circle nose thing going on, so we're gonna try to amp that up just a little bit. I'm gonna put a shadow under the nose here, just like that. This is all like pretty standard stuff. Kryptonite needle, yeah. You think though he wouldn't risk it, you know, getting that nose ring, like, because the kryptonite could potentially kill him. Like he's like, man, I need a nose ring so bad, but I might die. Like, but I want that nose ring so bad. All right. All right. Superman's looking good. We've tightened up the. This is a little weird here. We've kind of tightened up the rendering. When you zoom in, it looks like a goddamn mess, but that's okay, because we're like really zoomed in. We're like, you know, we're actually seeing the chunky pixels kind of thing, and that means that we're so close that nobody's ever gonna see it this close, you know. So like, let's just do a couple other things. A little reflected light, maybe a little reflected red. Reflected blue here. I don't know if that is even gonna register, but it kind of does. Kinda. This needs to kind of be smoothed out just a little bit. That make it worse? I can't tell if that made it worse. Yeah. Can you imagine your nose ring getting ripped out when you're at supersonic speed? That's probably not where you want to be in life. That's probably why Superman doesn't have one. Oh, red sun lamp. Yeah. there's how you tat up a super being. Um, Scientists working around the clock so Superman can get the body art he deserves. All right, so Superman's pretty good. The nose is a little bit funny. You know what? I think that we're gonna make it look a little better by kind of fudging some things. So, fudging some structure and anatomy by just kind of like making the shadow on the nose a little less pronounced, or maybe even like pulling it entirely. And this is just to kind of like flatten it out a little more, because it's just kind of looking a little weird, a little funky. So flattening it out is kind of doing the trick. We're gonna do a few like little harder highlights. Like here, there. All right, so he's looking pretty good. He's a little wonky with the nose. I mean, we could just like pull out of this whole mess entirely. Just be like, fuck it. It might be the best. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Magi, I don't know if you've watched what is it? Clerks? No, not Clerks. Mallrats, where they have a whole discussion of like, guys, this stream is all audience first of all, or not all audience. This adults only first of all. So let's get that right out of the way before I make this statement. Uh, that Superman, when he, finishes during sexy times, that he blows a hole right through Lois. But unless he has that red sun lamp. But doesn't it work that like the red sun, like he has to be like under it for a while for it to kind of sap his powers and start doing some of the hair stuff here. Like he has to like live under it because he's like a battery, right? With the yellow sun. So like eventually he has to like kind of depower. I don't know. All I know is that DC just announced they're doing like this motorcycle uh thing with a lot of their characters like Supergirl, Wonder Woman, and Batgirl. Um, and the tatted up Wonder Woman and the tatted up Supergirl. I was like into it. I was like, yeah, fuck yeah, let's cover them in tats. It's kind of awesome. So we're just going in, putting some highlights in the hair. It, like I said, doesn't have to be perfect. And like hair is kind of a weird thing, but Kyler drew it the way a lot of comic artists draw it, which is like in these like chunks. So that makes it a little easier because then you just kind of like add a little bit of variation and you're there. Especially like in the shine. So the shine is going to be kind of, if you've ever seen, looked at the back of somebody's head, like on the train or subway or whatever, um, that uh, the shine kind of like goes around in like the same way. So all the way around their head, the way the light source hits it. So we just kind of amped that up and did that. We're going to, because I remember now that I want to do like this rim lighting thing. We're going to, whoops. Should not be set to screen. Why can't Photoshop read my mind? So we're gonna put just a little bit of shadow down here. Because we're gonna add a little highlight down here when we eventually get through this. Uh, so Superman's face is looking pretty good. We got there eventually. We were doing some hard shadows, but I think that wasn't the way to go. I think just smoothing it out um, is like the proper way to do it. I want to say it's like the tatted up uh, women superheroes were DC Garage, I think is what it's called. I'm not sure. I'm not sure who's coloring it, but I saw uh, Dan. Gosh, I don't know how to pronounce his last. I want to say Poseidon, but I don't know if that's it. I don't know if I've ever said his name out loud, but Urban Barbarian, his Wonder Woman on the motorcycle looked totally fucking rad. Uh, and she had like a full sleeve. These are my people, the full sleeve people. Um, I think it's so like visually interesting. All right, so we're gonna add a gradient through this thing, and the gradient starts to like tighten it up, like hard lights, hard shadows. We're just gonna blend it a little bit. It kind of like takes over the painting we were doing with the Conte, the like rough painting. Sorry for drinking so much water. Florida is so hot. I only have one fan going right now. I don't even know if you guys can hear it, but yeah, it's Florida's such a shit show right now as far as heat goes. I can like everybody always pokes fun of like the snowbirds, but I'm like the snowbirds have it right. Like you should not be here in the summertime. No, no one should be here in the summertime. All right, hands looking all right. Um, I think we're just gonna pop in like a little bit of highlight here, just like a quick gradient, so that it's not looking weird or dark or whatever. There we go. All right, all right. Let's do this kid. Wait, what? No, let's color in this child. Ah, fuck. We're gonna have to shut the stream down. Hello and good luck. Oh, does the rest of is snowbird not a universal term? Okay, so what a snowbird is in Florida, at least, and uh, I know somebody who lives in Tucson, and they use the term snowbird as well, but they use it for people in like Michigan and like people in like the Midwest will come seasonally in the summer or in the winter to avoid the winter there. They will visit uh, and live in Florida for like the entire winter season, or not Florida, Tucson. But in the Northeast, where I'm from, in Connecticut, it was Florida. Everybody would just come down to Florida. So, what we want to do is kind of just make this kid's shirt. I think we're gonna do it in like two grads because let's be honest, like the Superman's kind of running the show here, um, and we want him to kind of be the focus and not the kid. No offense to this child. So we're just gonna do a couple of grads and then kind of like go in and kind of noodle with it. So that was like I did one grad through the whole thing, and then I just did like another highlight grad, and it does a pretty good job. Like we're like pretty much there already. uh, he's not. He's Superman. He's a good dude. He's not sucking the light out of a child's eyes. Is there a villain that does that? I need the light and naivete of children to survive. Maybe, maybe not. Don't. I just realized that that's a rough one to take out of context. I need the light and naivete of children to survive. Oh man, we gotta shut this stream down. None of this is usable. So we're just throwing a little bounce light. We can actually make this like a little blue. Get a little color theory going on here, because this is the Superman side of things. So like this is a little whiter, that's a little bluer. Huh? That's a thing, right? Probably a thing. We just got like, and it's, we're not, this isn't rocket science. Like we're using like 30% on just a round brush, like comes built into Photoshop, nothing fancy. You don't need a ton of like fancy tools to like get started doing coloring for comics. Um, you can like literally just go. You download Photoshop and you're all set. You got everything you need. Um, I'm gonna do kind of a harder highlight or harder shadow here. I'm gonna shadow around Superman's head. Um, so he's like nuzzling into him, kind of thing. I don't know. Is that weird? It might be weird. Top of the ears. I might have made it weird. uh, villains ritual killing of virgins? I don't know. I don't know if that really happens in comics. Comics are like for as like wild of a medium as far as like, you know, here's a guy that shoots laser beams out of his eyes. They're like they play it pretty safe when it comes to like real shit, like I was working on a Hulk book and I like Hulk is I, I wouldn't say I'm thirsty for fanfics. I would not say that. Uh, Hulk is he's like punching through these AIM dudes, just like soldiers, and he like I covered him in blood because he's just like mowing these dudes down, Like I don't know how. First of all, if I'm like in a little biohazard suit and I got my gun, I'm not going after the Hulk. Like that is not happening. Uh, yeah, so I was like, oh, these dudes are getting crushed. Let's just like kind of make it count. Like let's show the gore. And my editor, who I don't remember who was editing at the time, I forgot what book this was, but he was like, this looks great. We cannot have the Hulk be a murderer. I was like, what? He's a rage monster, But like you think back to like all the Hulk movies and stuff, and like, you know, he's hitting dudes, but there's no gore, there's no blood. If the Hulk punched you, you would like explode like a grape. So we're now I'm getting sucked into polishing up this stuff because I am a crazy person that can't stop working on stuff when I probably should. Because I don't think there's no victory to be had here by polishing up this stuff. But I don't know. It started. Now we're done. Whatever. Let's finish off this kid. Uh, what do we gotta do? We gotta do skin tone. We gotta do hair, and then we're like pretty done. Um, if I remember right, I had to put a little bit of yellow in Superman's skin tone to make it look right. So let's see if we gotta do that for the kid too. Let's just select his face. There we go. And just kind of like pull out some of the shadows. So Kyler did this kind of like what I like to call the snot nose kid. I don't know if this is accurate, but it's how I feel when a kid's like out in the snow for a long time and their nose gets red and kind of like drips a little bit. Snot nose kid. Not meant in a derogatory way, but in a factual way. So we're gonna try to make his nose like a little bit red when we get around to it. So chat's gone off the rails. I don't know what's going on anymore. This whole thing. Shut it all down. Nuke the VOD from orbit. Uh, so I picked up a. I got a new mic, but I don't. It's not happening right now. I gotta set it up. But for consistency's sake, I wanted to keep using the old mic to finish this project off. So there isn't like a noticeable jump in quality if someone goes back and watches. But in the future, the mic will be better. You'll hear me a lot more clearly. We won't have pop sounds popping like that. Hopefully. So, um, so a child's face is a little easier than Superman's because Superman kind of has all this character to it, but a kid's face doesn't have any like wrinkles or lines or anything. So we're gonna keep it pretty easy. Yeah, this is the problem. He's looking a little weird, like especially next to Superman who looks like a normal skin tone. Um, so my week was nuts. It uh it started out very light, and I thought I was gonna have a very light week. And what happened after that was that, and this happens sometimes with coloring, because you work on so many projects. Uh, I mean, aren't kids just short people, Magi? We're gonna add a little bit of yellow. Yep, see, that did the trick. Um, maybe make him a little Superman toned as well. Uh, so what happens when you work on a lot of different projects is like sometimes due dates for things run into each other, and sometimes uh, people are, for whatever reason, not necessarily um, like their fault. Like either they got like a miscommunication down the line. Like you got to keep in mind that like a colorist is like the fourth or fifth person in the line. Um, so if somebody in the chain miscommunicates, not even on purpose, but just like it just happens, uh, a lot of it's gonna fall on the colorist when all is said and done. Uh, so what happened was is previews is a catalog where people can order comics and stuff, and order. So we need covers to advertise that like this book is coming out in previews. And what happened in my week was I was like, oh, I started doing this. I was like, I'm gonna do this, and it's gonna be fun, and uh, and then I'm gonna have plenty of time to do this other book that I'm working on, the Skybound book. And what my week turned into was 6 covers across 3 projects, and it was all due like all at the same time. And like it takes so much patience to do and cover. Okay, first of all, you can't just bang out covers like you do anything else because covers serve a purpose of like trying to sell the book. And you have to think about covers a little bit differently than you normally do when you work in the color. Uh, Not only does the color need to sell the book, but like, okay, so you hold the comic book, like if this was a cover, you hold it in your hands, it's about this size, right? On screen, on your screen, it's about this, maybe it's about this size. Uh, but when you see it on the rack, it's also like this size. So, like, this has to be readable. This has to be, like, all the silhouettes, everything going on has to be readable and engaging. It's the same thing with Magic cards. Like, any kind of card game, you know, sometimes digital artists, they start doing, like, stuff like they get into this space and then they don't understand that, like, when it turns into a card, like, a lot of the stuff that they're doing gets, like, totally lost. Um, so, I was trying to like it takes a little extra thought. It takes a little um uh takes a little extra, I don't know, time to like put these things together. So covers usually take me like 3 or 4 hours. And you multiply that by 6. I actually only did 5. I got another one to go that I got to do today. uh but yeah, you start to like get into like, oh God, this just like ate like every day turned into like, okay, am I gonna get a cover done? And then what am I scrambling to get done after that? And it was like, oh well, and then on top of that, it was just like life shit, you know? Like life doesn't stop because I had like a lot of covers to do. I still had to like, you know, go to the grocery store, get my hair cut. I had a wedding this weekend that I was attending, so I had to like, pick up some chucks for that because my chucks were like all beat up. And then it was like, you know, the nonstop. And then like we had dinner with a couple friends on Friday, and it was just, nonstop. So that's how the week turned into like a shit show. And this is why sometimes colorists need to keep like zen calm, because when I was doing these covers, and like the whole team's involved and they understand the importance. I'm trying to add a little bit of cheekbones in here. Um, they understand the importance of everything. They want it to look the best it can. I absolutely like want everybody to be happy with it. So like people are chiming in on this thing, and when you know, 3 teams of 4 people are chiming in on art that I'm trying to get like out the door, um, with like little things, it like starts like I can handle it when it's like 1 or 2 people, but when it starts to be like 1 or 2 things, like 1 or 2 projects, but when it's like 6, it starts to get like, oh my God, everybody just needs to shut the hell up and let me do my thing. Like you just gotta trust me. But I mean, it isn't even about that. It's just that like my patience had hit this level, um, where I was just like, like freaking out. And so that's like one of the ways that like comics can get a little hairy when you're a colorist, and it's unique to coloring because, you know, uh, the writer's like done. The artist is fairly done by the time it gets to you, and then you're like in the end of the line, and then like things have to go out. So if you want to color, my best advice to you is to be emotionally centered. Is what I'm saying. Yeah, nobody like, and this is something I want to stress is like nobody on my teams were in the wrong. Like if I had like one cover, I'd be like happily like obliging everyone. But by the time I got to like my 5th cover, I was like, just fucking print it. It's fine. I don't know. So that's why we did not get to this guy in the week, is because like it was just like one more thing. one more thing every day, and then like the regular book that I was doing, I wanted to get it actually done. It would have been done early. I mean, it's still going to get done early, but it uh I only got to like page 13 of 20. So, and like probably by like Wednesday or Thursday, because like all the covers took time. Probably like Wednesday or Thursday, I had like maybe 7 pages done, which is like nothing. That's like a day and a half's worth of work. So in 3 days. So all right, we're lighting up the kid's eyes and turning him into a human being. Whoops, turning him into a human being. We should probably lighten up his teeth a little bit. And we will lighten up his tongue. That might be too light. That starts to look like his tongue is glowing. That's not what we want. Yeah, so that's why like I wish that I could put together a streaming schedule that was like that I could like really really stick to. Like in the intro, I used to say we're streaming Last of Us on Wednesdays, but now it says we're streaming Last of Us sometimes, like maybe Wednesdays. I don't know. And the reason is because like sometimes the week starts out in this place where it's like, oh, we can easily get stuff done, and then the week turns into like everything is on fire. We'll make him a little rose-cheeked in a minute here. Here's the thing too. The more you mess with kids' faces, the more adult they're gonna look. So we don't want to do that. Screen. Give him a little. Give him a little blush. That's looking okay. I wish it was. Man, he looks like dark compared to Superman, and he's like clearly a white kid. So let's try to just like put a grad through the whole face to just lighten him up. We don't have to do it with the eyes. And we're gonna put a little lip underneath him too. Um, let's take actually this Superman color so that he matches a little bit. Just yeah, lighten him up. There we go. The shadow around his nose is a little strong. Yeah, but I mean like here's the thing is like he drew it that way. Oh, you mean like here? Like this like I don't know. This is tough too because I work so zoomed out. I'm trying to like remember to zoom in more so you guys can actually see it. Like here the shadow's a little strong. Maybe. Maybe we can just make this a little. That didn't really fix down here though. There we go. Nose, upper lip, yeah. I see what you're saying. Yeah, there was like the problem is that the mouth is like really kind of crammed into the bottom of the face, um, which is fine. It's the way he drew it, but like I can't use like my normal tricks. He's kind of looking like the Joker, like really wide. So we're gonna try to fix that. I mean, What might need to happen is just like I just lighten this whole shit up. Like really go in. I think that's what I'm gonna be doing right now. So now the face is like starting to freaking fall apart. Uh, Comics, coloring. Shit's easy, right? You just click around a little bit and then like it all and then you have art, right? Right? That's how it works. Man, this is like so here's the this is the challenge with kids is that like you can't really add a whole lot to what they're doing, but like every mark you make kind of counts. So I think we got there eventually, but um, we're gonna add a little bit of bounce light from the shirt. And this is the thing too is like I wanted to do some rim lighting, but I don't know that there's like really any room for me to do it down here. Like I might just straight up not be able to. We're working in a very narrow space. But that's all right. We'll figure it out. We'll problem solve it when we get to that step. All right. Good enough. We're going to do the hair and then we're going to get to the rim lighting and then maybe polish up the suit just a little bit. Make Lex not green because apparently he's green down there for some reason. Man, past me. That guy's got to learn how to color. So, uh, just like the head, we kind of want to add a little bit of yellow in. The reason that there's not a whole lot of yellow into like the rest of this thing is because in like the rest of this piece with the skin tone and the child's face and the hair is because when we washed it with color when we started, we went purple. So, and purple's on the opposite end of the color wheel, and while it may make sense that like it kind of occupies like ashen kind of skin tone, we still want it to be like legible. And then we tweak the sky. This is all the thing. This is like all of our problems is that we tweaked the sky after it was very purple and we added red. So since we added red, the skin tones have to warm up too. Everything is affecting everything is the problem. So like at the end of the day, you can kind of go in with a plan, but sometimes the plan changes and then like everything else kind of has to change. So when you get to the end of something like this, um, you have to kind of go in and be like, all right, does this look right? You know, because like you may have made a decision an hour ago, or in our case, like 2 days ago, that was like this is the right decision for this moment, and you look at like the rest of what you got and you're like, is this the right decision for this moment? Like you gotta stay on your toes. We're gonna color this so it's not totally in shadow, but it shouldn't be too time consuming. We're just gonna lighten it up. Oh my god, this thing is like really struggling. That was weird. Photoshop was like, I don't know if I can pull this grad. It's like, dude, it's just a little grad. Let's just add a little bit of highlight on this shirt. Shoulders. There we go. Alright, let's do the hair. The hair's gonna be a little more difficult than Superman because he has lighter hair. Look, the only like uh past me that is making all these problems, that guy's an asshole. Future me, that guy can get fucked. Present me, I don't know why everybody's picking on me. Like everything's difficult for present me. I don't know why that is. So yeah, sometimes your week goes off the rails with comics. Sometimes things just end up taking forever. And I was trying to like answer back. I'm putting together like a little young animal thing too, and that kind of had to get dropped by the wayside for a moment. Um, but we're still gonna do it. I don't know if I'm gonna do it on stream, but I do have some stuff planned. I didn't know that Marvel is making. So this is exciting. I did a Deadpool 2099 thing, a little run. I think it's 4 issues, 5 issues, and they've collected it into a trade by itself. It used to be it's in the regular Deadpool trades. So if you have the regular Deadpool trades, you don't need it. Uh, it like the Deadpool trades that came out collected, um, 1 through 4 or whatever, like whatever the newest or sorry, six, whatever the newest six were, and then one of those issues in the newest six was a 2099 issue that I worked on with Scott Koblish, and he and I and Jerry Dugan um, did the writing. Scott did the art. And then so I was like, oh, this is great. I love this thing because I love the 2099 universe. Um, but all of the like it'd be nice to collect it all together, and I didn't know that it ever was going to be collected together because it's neat and it stands alone, and it's a good read, and if you like the 2099 universe, like it's awesome. It's right up your alley. You don't need anything. You don't need to read the other Deadpool comics, which is why it was weird that it was collected in there. But uh, yeah, thanks. So we I'm just trying to warm up this kid's hair. So so his hair looks really yellow, and part of that is because like the whole world is very purple, but I think that if we gray it down, it's gonna look weird. And like we yellowed up the background too, so I think maybe the yellow in his hair works. Let's play with it a little bit. But yeah, so uh the Deadpool 2099 trade is coming out August 16th. So after this, we are going to on stream um maybe a little DSAT isn't that bad, actually. A little DSAT looks good. Oh man, it's almost like color theories at work here. Little bit of purple. Oh yeah, oh yeah. I'm feeling it now. We're gonna put some highlights in here. Uh, uh, so thank you very much. The goal is for it to look great, so we're gonna try to get there. It like when I started this thing too, I was like, should the top of his hair be so dark? Well, I'm trying to. We're lighting it from above, but we're also trying to like. This is me cheating, essentially. The reason that I'm lighting his hair a little bit dark at the top is because I want to frame his face. And I want to like. I don't want you to be like, oh, look at the top of his head, like, and then like make this dark down here. I mean, I guess we could like kind of like experiment with that like kind of thing and then like darken up the bottom. But like while that looks like technically correct, what I'd like to do is shade the top. What we're gonna be doing is cheating a little bit by shading like the top of these tips with a highlight. I mean, yeah, I'm like flying by the seat of my pants as far as the lighting goes. I'm doing a lot of cheats. Here's the thing. It doesn't We're not making a painting. We're making a comic. And when we do that, like there's two golden rules that I feel like need to be followed when you're working on a comic. And that's it has to be like visually interesting, A, and B, it has to the color has to tell you where to look, and the color has to, and then you can only really do that if you really play around with lighting and make it kind of not necessarily accurate, but looks good enough to be accurate, if that makes any sense. So we're gonna cheat a little bit. Um, if Cause this is the thing. And this isn't Kyler's fault. Like a lot of artists do this where they just hit a point where they're tired or they're not thinking and like but the best comic artists like figure out all this stuff in the inks. They figure out the lighting, they figure out all that stuff. But Kyler and like maybe some of this is my fault too. Um, like we didn't necessarily have to light the buildings from behind. We could have done this in a midday scene rather than like a dusk scene. There's like a lot of like variables at play, but um, people like Chris Somney do they draw in such a way that they have thought about the light source and they have thought about like the sculpting. They've thought about it in 3 dimensions as well as 2 dimensions, if that makes any sense. Like they've put together a piece that works in a world rather than just like I'm doing a 2 dimensional drawing. And so because of that, like you kind of with like his stuff. I mean, not that I've colored a ton of his stuff because I haven't, but when you see it, you're like, oh, the lighting all makes sense. You got to like stick to the lighting that he puts down. But with this kind of stuff that's like kind of open line art, the only like hard shadow we have going on is like right here, and like the shadows on the buildings that kind of frame the whole piece. Uh, it's kind of like Wild West. Whatever you can get to work. Um, so we're gonna stick with whatever works. So this is the cheat that I'm saying. Like I'm framing his face. Like this looks a little darker, so it looks like it's lit from the top, and then the back of his hair is not really the important thing. Uh, we can zoom in a little bit, and we'll probably put like just another little highlight in. Uh, yeah. So I mean, first and foremost, the whole thing should like communicate what you want to communicate, and if you gotta cheat to get there, there's no fault in that. Not everything is going to be lit perfectly. There's a reason why like Chris Somney is considered like a modern master of what he does. All right, that's looking good. Let's tighten up his suit a little, make Lex not green, and I think we're getting close to done. We're gonna in the interest of cheating, we're gonna take the arm back here. Oh, we can't grab it. I didn't separate that out. All right. I'm going to take the arm back here and darken it a little bit. Oh, we're going to do the reflected light too, or the rim lighting to showcase the silhouette a little better. I almost forgot about that. I've only been talking about it for a week. So anyway, 2099 book comes out. Deadpool 2099 comes out August 16th, and we are going. I took a raw scan of the original Spider-Man 99, 2099 book, the like number one, like first iconic double page spread that Rick Leonardi drew, and we are gonna digitally remaster it because it's shown its age as far as color goes. And I love that book, and I love the 2099 universe, and this is like a perfect way to kind of like celebrate it and also promote the book coming out. So we're gonna do that, and I also uh, I got a line on some. Jack Kirby is turning his birthday was 100 years ago this August, so we're going to be doing some Jack Kirby, Mr. Miracle stuff. I got to get the line art from Tom Fowler. We're going to do his Mr. Miracle, but assuming that comes through and he's able to get the stuff to me, we're going to be doing that after the 2099 stuff, and then probably do another community piece because this was a lot of fun. All right, so we darkened up the arm there again to like frame the face because we want the action like all here. And this is starting to come together in like a real positive way. And Jack Kirby's birthday is 100 years ago this August. That's awesome. Uh, he is the fucking man. Uh, a lot of people. I mean, like people obviously know who Jack Kirby is. We're just tightening up the suit a little bit right now. Um, for anyone who doesn't, you should Google him. He did like a prolific amount of work in comic books in the 60s. He is probably responsible for a lot of your favorites. If you're like, oh, Stan Lee, I know who that is because he wrote my favorite comics. Chances are, uh, Jack Kirby was the one who was doing the drawing. Uh, and to tell you the truth, um, and he did DC stuff too. He did, we're going to be doing Mr. Miracle, uh, which is his creation. Um, and Darkseid is his creation as well. Uh, and we're going to be doing all the new gods. We're going to be doing that stuff. The other thing that makes Jack Kirby so fucking amazing is like not only the work that he did, like which stands up as some of the best comic work over an entire career of all time. Um, but the sheer amount of work. So we just kind of defined the forms a little bit better on there. Looks a little like so the roughness kind of plays with the shine. The shine looks like very tight because we did it with the lasso, and the Conte 2 brush we were using looks a little rough, and I think I like the play between them. Um, so let's see if, okay, let's save it first, just in case this goes off the rails. We're gonna add a little bit of underlight like we're doing down here. So yeah, if you look at like everything Jack Kirby did and look at like how many books he put out, and we're going to talk about this a little bit too. I'm going to do some reading on Jack when we do the Mr. Miracle piece, because I know a little bit, but I could actually stand to learn a little bit more about him. Um, the just sheer amount of work and all of it like just knocking it out of the park every time. Like the guy just like lived and breathed comics in this like really amazing way. Uh, and the industry like as a whole like owes him a debt of gratitude. Not that they're not giving it to him, just he's just amazing. Um, there will never be another person like him. So I guess we're gonna rough it in because we roughed it in originally. Here's the brush we used. This guy. Oh, Photoshop. It's struggling on me. Oh, it's doing that weird thing where it. Yeah, there it is. All right. So we're trying to like underlight it. So like let's kind of rough in where we want to put it. And we want to highlight the form. So, like we want to let's see if we can actually let's not bleed into other stuff. Let's just grab Superman. All right. So, obviously, chin. Maybe we shouldn't use this rough brush. It's going to be like a fucking mess, especially when we get into fine detail work. So, under the chin, and this is going to look weird when we start, and it might even look weird when we finish. Then we decide, fuck this shit, we're not going to do it. But we're gonna try. I mean, I don't know. This is like a really off the rails. We're high in our own supply right now. Yeah, that does not look good. He looks like he's got some weird eye makeup going on, but we'll keep the chin. Uh, maybe through here as well. Hmm. Maybe this isn't such a good idea. Let's put it all down in like a rough way, and then we'll see if it's not such a good idea. Because like we actually played around with this like quite a bit. And I think that it's only going to work like once it's all down. And we're just using like a white, we can go in with like a subtler brush in a minute. So this is what I was talking about, how we don't have a lot of real estate with the kid's face. Um, like I was thinking about this because I wanted to put this highlight in, but I don't know if like it's gonna look goofy or weird or what. I don't know. We'll just gesture it in, and if it looks weird, we'll pull it or refine it or whatever. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Heavy underlighting, like just kind of be heavy with it and then play with opacities and everything and try to like, yeah, get it all back to like a manageable level where it doesn't look like it's like all out of control. I mean, it's looking good. I don't know if it's looking great. It's gonna need a little bit of work. What I thought was a short stream is now at an hour and 13 minutes. Um, let's. You know what? Let's get gutsy. Fuck it. Fuck it. Does that work? Eh, maybe if we soften it down. It might actually work if we like soften it down. This could be a thing. Is this a thing? Like now I'm like, oh, should we get into the muscle groups and stuff? Maybe. Maybe. The fucking clavicle and shit. Those brow bones. Yeah. Uh yeah. I don't know. Uh the bones. I mean, should we get into it on the kid's face too? I think I like it on Superman, but it's gonna need to be like heavily toned down. All right, we're gonna roll with it. Um, what color is it? It's like an orange in the screen. Hmm. Let's. Oh, we're yeah, good. Deselect. Man, choices. I do kind of like the blue, because then we start getting like a blue and red motif going on, which is like good with Superman. No, I think we're gonna keep it as is. Just looks so thick. I don't know. Maybe we won't keep it. The problem is that like this blue, I feel like doesn't nearly work as well. Like I think the blue is a good idea, but that blue isn't a good idea. I don't know. Maybe we won't fuck with it. Maybe we'll just start getting into this rim lighting situation. All right, let's unfuck this. Um, let's start with the cape. So, like I said before about the capes, we are not on the right thing. About red being a tough color to use because you put white onto red and you get this pink or this beige color. It is very true. Like this is something. These are we're making something. I hope that like that's not readable. And this is the problem I was having down here. Like I put the white in and then I kind of did like an orange like fade on it. I mean, maybe we should be doing that. Oh yeah. Past me. He figured it out. Like give it like a little bit of warmth. Past me is a goddamn genius. Past us is the best of us. It's like this is a little much, but we're on the path now, at least. And let's actually take this whole thing. Darken it because it's looking a little bit funny. Alright, so if we're going to put like a little bit of warmth in here. Let's try to do that. Man, the orange doesn't register so well on like gray, but that's okay. So yeah, we're just kind of like we're working it in. Ugh, I'm bouncing around so much between tools. I hate when I do that because all it does is like eat time. I mean, maybe we can just fade like all this stuff. Maybe the cape isn't important, but the like kid is, so we just have to like kind of gesture it in like that. So it's like the whisper of a little underlight. Um, this is a mess. Let's figure this out. So the hand is all over the place. Clearly, Kyler was not focused on creating the best hand anatomy at this point in the drawing. Uh, that's fine. You know, we'll polish it up a little bit. I think maybe like we actually don't even need it here, the underlight, because like we're getting to the point where like on the edge of the paper, if this was gonna be a cover, like we're in the full bleed area that gets like cropped out. Um, just looks kind of weird. I don't know. Like I can't tell. Is part of this is this hand? Are you? Does it end there? Like that maybe? I don't know. Clearly that shit's not important. Let's not lose sleep over it. Move on with our lives. Joke books are a mistake. I haven't ordered mine. I haven't ordered my joke book because I books told me that Ellie gets a joke book in The Last of Us, and so we were gonna out joke book her. But she has not gotten it yet in our playthrough. Uh, but I also want to. I also would like to. Um, I was thinking about. So my brother is having twins, which is awesome. And I think maybe a red would have been better than that orange for this, but we're gonna roll with it with what we got down for the sake of the stream and expedient situations. Um, and I was thinking about trying to learn card tricks on stream. I don't know if you guys are into that, but that might be happening. Basically, I'm turning this into a variety show. It's an art show. It's a show about coloring, but it's also not those things. Oh my god, this is kind of turning into a mess. Cause like just because I don't know, I'm starting to like work against the art. Is that turning into a mess? Like it works really well in the shirt and the cape, but it's not working so well in the skin tones. Maybe it just needs to be like redder. I'm also like it feels like I have a feeling in my gut like we're working against the line art, which is like not the feeling I want. haven't decided yet if we're scrapping it or not. See, like that looks good, except for this like shit at the bottom. But like that orange looks good in the kid's face. Like I think there's ways to kind of make this work. It just might need I might need more work than I'm like willing to put into it is my bottom line. Cuz I kind of want to get this thing like done and I also have a cover to do today. So I don't know if we're actually going to follow through with this. We'll see. Maybe put it on the back burner forever. Is that an option? I do want to get this finished though. Yeah, that's looking all right. I think the thing that was happening. Yeah, that's Magi. That's my worry is that my hands can't physically do it. But a friend of mine who's a magician recommended me a few books that were um not dexterity. Like she has extremely small hands, and she just can't do the dexterous like card tricks. Like she's just her physical limitations. She would need smaller cards. So she recommended me a book that she's like, you don't have to know like any kind of dexterity or have any kind of dexterity to do that. Um, what I was saying before was the thing that felt like it was fighting here was that like all this stuff is kind of in shadow because I want you to be here. And so I was putting these hard white highlights in, and I think that's why my brain was going, this is bad, this is bad, this is bad, because it's not it's not like fitting with the original plan. Um, so let's try to. I think maybe like the hard white highlight like worked really well there, and I think because it fits with the original plan. And I think maybe this would look better with like a rougher brush, maybe. But we are trying to make it look a little slick, so I mean it might be fine. We might just have to like fix this guy and make him look a little slicker. See, but it's hard to make it. See, now we're starting to get into like maybe the crest should be lit. Oh, this might actually be really good. Fuck. We just might have made a bunch of work for us that is moving the piece in a positive direction that I can no longer ignore. uh, oh, you have to idle in specific city in various locations? Huh. After you get the car? Yeah, we're working on the car right now. Um, when he like when Bill is like, "Hey, we're gonna put together a car," I was like, "Oh God," because I really thought he was gonna be like something real stupid, like, "I need 30 spark plugs from these 10 locations." Like it was gonna turn into like an MMO, but thankfully the game has not done that. I don't know why I thought that was gonna happen, but that was kind of where my headspace was at. Uh, Yeah, Ellie is great. Like the more that I play, the more I like Ellie, which was bummed me out when we ditched her. We just straight up ditched her. So this is starting to look good. We're throwing in some orange into the Superman crest in a way where the light is kind of like bouncing up at him, which is really neat. And I'm being very very sloppy with it, but forgive me. We'll polish all parts that need polishing in a minute because I just want to see like what it ends up looking like. Whoa, that is not what I want. All right, we're back on track. This is what I was talking about before, where like some people make the Superman crest look like metallic, and I'm not sure if that's the direction we're gonna go, because we're starting to make it look too orangey. Fuck, man. Like, see, like this is the problem we're having, where part of this looks really good, and part of this is not working at all, and it's like under the same umbrella. And for the sake of getting this done, I'm like bouncing between like fuck it, like we're done, and oh, we should definitely finish this because we're on to something. But I guess if we're on to something, I kind of just went silent there because I was like really evaluating if we were going to keep trying to push this or not as I was like tweaking Superman's face. But I guess if we're on to something, we should like, I don't know, see it through, see how it ends up. And then make the decision at the end. Does that make sense? I wish we snapshotted so we could see the difference, but like the kid looks great. Superman does not. And I don't know if we're like square peg round hole right now, where like nothing's going to get me there kind of thing. There's also like a lot of like subtle lines that are happening in the Superman piece. Man, maybe I gotta stop brushing shit and start using the lasso. Yeah, we're deep into like the experimentation of like this kind of this kind of shit. Uh, a lot of a lot of the job as a colorist is like I'm gonna try this and see if it works, and if it doesn't, it doesn't, and then we're done. You know, like you try things that work until they work, and when they do, they're awesome, and when they don't, they get scrapped and you start over. Um, and we won't start over. We'll just like call it done when we hit that like hour 10 mark or whatever. But yeah, for some reason Superman's face, I mean, it looks okay, but I think the problem is there's not a lot of room to play. Like there wasn't a lot of room to play down here, so we just faded it out and it's just all cheekbone for the kid. And like there's like so much line art going on like in Superman's face, and there's so much like it doesn't look like there's a lot going on as far as like shading and everything, but there kind of is. So it's like convoluting what's happening. I mean, I do like the little nose shine. Maybe this is just too much. We just gotta like tone this down. I mean, that's starting to look good. I don't know. I don't know. We're I feel like we're at the point and this happens with everything where I essentially get to a point where it's like finished, and then we sit here and go, is it finished? Is it not finished? I can't tell. Are we done now? Are we done now? And basically we sit here in that place until we hit a point where I just go, fuck it, it's done. So if we're splashing orange, like maybe this is why the Superman. Oh my god, too much. Maybe that's why the S wasn't working when it was a little orangey, because we need to do it for the yellow too. Maybe we should have done it for everything, like while we were in the thick of it. Maybe that's starting to work. Yeah, it's starting to do its job. I'm coming around on it now. I think I just needed to get like more of it in on the actual piece so that I could like see it in action. I know this isn't the most thrilling stuff to watch because it's just like me kind of meandering through this piece, but like this happens a lot when you color. Like you just try shit out. Like I've been doing this now, God, since like 2002, um, and you do a lot of experimenting when you're starting, like a fuck ton, because you're trying to find your way. But the experimentation, I feel like never stops. This is why I keep coming back to coloring, is because I always end up, depending on the line art, depending on the person, like who's doing the line art, presents you with different problems, and finding the solutions can be really frustrating and really rewarding. uh, so that's kind of neat. Let's add a little bit of orange. Like the orange in the blue look really good. Like it adds like this little warmth highlight. It's like trying to figure out the Superman S and trying to figure out his face was like really challenging. and almost got me to the point where I gave up. But I'm glad that I didn't. I'm glad I'm here. Because I think we're ending up in a place that's really unique and interesting. And interesting is like the whole part of it. Like I said before, like the golden rules of coloring is like keep it interesting, keep the reader engaged, and then like also, service the story. So we're trying to do all of that right now. And I think maybe we can just like brush some of this stuff in. Maybe. Or maybe not. Maybe this is why I get in trouble. Because I'm like, oh, now that we know what we're doing, I'll just take some shortcuts. And I think that might be right. I think there might be no shortcuts for what we're trying to get done. I'm really looking forward to doing that 2099 piece, by the way. Uh, I like half colored an issue of 2099, the Spider-Man 2099, as like a little promotional thing, but that was a long time ago, and I've learned a lot of like tricks since then. And I did not color this double page spread because it's like fucking bananas. Like it's Spider-Man being chased by like hover cars and in this like cityscape. And as I said before, like yeah, was skeptical on the highlights. Right. That yeah. Like I think that when I started like gesturing them in, it looked like a goddamn mess. And and now that like and that was like what, a half an hour ago. So like think about it like that. Like we started in on the highlights a half an hour ago, and it's such a minor thing to this piece. But we're gonna do a comparison when we get to the other side of it. Of like, is it better with the highlights or not? Does it matter? Was it a good way to spend a half an hour? Because that kind of thing is important. Like if we get to the end and it's like, oh, this looks okay, but maybe it was not a good way to spend the half an hour. Maybe we should have like just been working on something else. Uh, that is also valuable. Um, and that conversation is real. If you're trying to get books out on time and you got to be aware of like when things are worth it and when things are not worth it. Um, but yeah, so I never colored this iconic double page spread um, back in the day, and I've learned a few tricks since then because it was very intimidating and it was not going to be a pleasurable experience. And I actually think that uh, as much as I'm struggling with these highlights, we might be in the same boat with the double page spread. Like it might be like a whole. You might just watch me struggle through this like shit show and try to end up in a place that's like great on the other side. That's the goal. All right, so we just have the highlights in the hand and then we're done. Um, so we're just gonna kind of like darken it and then lighten it and then I think the thing that was throwing me was that maybe the hands need a little bit of reddish and then like a red base, screen base. I don't know, maybe not. Maybe I'm thinking about it too much. Let's add in the white again. Add in the white. I'm like muttering to myself now. This is how you know I'm in the tank. Is when I've started to mutter to myself. They look a little weird on the hand. Let's kind of like narrow them in, maybe. So the goal of putting these highlights in was to enunciate the figure in a way where we were creating a better um, silhouette. And I think we got there. I think the best part of the highlight was the part that I was like struggling with under Superman's eyes and his um in between like his eyes and the bone in his brow. And I think it's subtle, but I think it works. Here, let's save this as something else. And then open up the other one. And hope that Photoshop doesn't crash trying to save and load at the same time. Okay. So here it is back to back, side to side. I think that the highlights were worth it. I think that the highlights made it a much more interesting piece. Yeah, the highlights were totally worth it. The S is like popping now. Uh, yeah, it like the way more warm, way more 3D. Yeah, brought a ton of life. It was a hard road, but I think that the highlights were smart. And I do think that they popped the silhouette and the form a little bit more. I think it was a hard road, but I think it was the right one. So we're gonna fix Lex down here and make him not green, and then I think we're like done pretty much. I hope that I know Kyler was here for the first part and the second part, but I hope that he is happy with this. I hope he catches the video on demand later, the VOD. I think that warmed him up. That's too warm. Shit. Shit. Mayday. Maybe we'll make him a little blue. Yeah, there we go. All right. We got there eventually. Um yeah. I think this turned out great. I think Kyler did a great job and with the lines, and they afforded us a lot of interesting opportunities. Uh, I think that we got to try some stuff that was like a little outside of my comfort zone, which was fantastic. And that's going to be the goal for this stuff going forward because this isn't going to really see print anywhere. We can zoom in a little. This isn't really going to see print anywhere, so I want to be like not only showing you guys how I work, but I also want to try new things, and I think that we did that. I those goals are good. Um, Maybe we'll revisit it when I have clearer eyes, but I think we're ready to post this up on Twitter and call it done. Um, Kyler didn't sign it, so here's one of the things that drives me nuts is I always want to sign stuff, um, and because I think it's important for people to understand like who did the color, but Kyler did not sign it, which is a little bit of a downer. Hold on one second. De Niro's slow to get off the bed to go get his dinner. De Niro's my dog. So I'm gonna sign it, and I might write Kyler on there too, sign it for him. But so here we'll just sign in the corner. But yeah, if you're making work, uh, you should be signing it. Because let me tell you, the best way to get your name out there is to do it. I feel like because that's a terrible signature. It's because I'm doing it on stream. Uh, there was like this thing in the 90s in comics where, you know, people were like putting these giant scrolls, like giant signatures on their things, and then like everybody was like, this is fucking stupid. Uh, so there's like this backlash to like, nobody should sign anything. Kyler. Oh, let's not put Kyler. Let's put his last name. So I don't have to put his full name. Shit, I'm so bad at this. I know it's like this is ready. Are you guys ready for another 30 minutes of this? CLOD. CLOD. FELTER. FELTER. I mean, 30-minute signature hype. Yeah. This is terrible. What we did, this right here is terrible what we did. I actually fuck man, can we even go back? We can go back. Let's just not sign it. After all of that, we're not going to sign it. Shit. We fucked it. Uh I might just use the type tool later off screen and put it up on Twitter. But yeah, so OBS is broadcasting this thing. It's going to look better when you check it out on Twitter. So you should absolutely follow me on Twitter. I'm going to be putting it on my Instagram as well. It's Nick_Filardi for the Instagram. I think it's down below in the thing. We're going to be doing Spider-Man 2099. Like I said, we're recoloring the iconic double page splash, and I wonder if we can. I wonder if we can find that. Double page splash. Uh, is the computer are we crashing? Um, Spider-Man 2099. So it's I probably butchered his name. Um, it should be like one of the first things that pops. Here's one, but it's not the original coloring. Somebody else did this as well. It's this image, but not this. This is something. Um, it had the same like kind of like yeah, the chase landing screen. Yeah, I know. It had it looks more like this, but this is somebody else's interpretation of it. Here it is. Here it is. This is what we're going to be coloring. Um this is the original. And the things that I'm excited about with this are we're gonna go crazy fucking neon with some signage and the buildings and stuff, but the challenges that we're gonna have are like there's a foreground, middle ground, background that's like really intense, and we're gonna try to build that foreground, middle ground, background really well. Rick Leonardi did this really great underlight. It's kind of similar actually to what we were doing here with the underlight. But I'm also a Spider-Man 2099 fan, so we're gonna have like a fun with it. I'm gonna try to do like some like hexacomb patterns in the suit, which is something that I don't normally do. Uh, Hexacomb, that's a thing. Don't worry about it. Don't think about things too hard. It's a visual medium. Uh, so we're gonna be working on this. I sent it to the flatter today because there's no way I'm gonna flat this myself, and we're gonna tweak the flats and then start going on this sometime this week. I know today's Sunday, so in my mind this still counts as last week, but it is not. Sometime this week we're gonna start in on it, and we're promoting a 2099 release. Yeah. Nick Hexacomb Flaherty. Thanks. Fucking streams. Why do I do this? uh, so as always, follow me on Twitter. Check out Kyler's Superman piece, and we're gonna post it up. You should follow him on Twitter as well. He's up and coming, trying to get work. And thanks for hanging out, and we'll have some more art stuff coming your way soon. We're gonna be doing a Last of Us stream maybe tonight, maybe. I kind of want to watch Twin Peaks. We'll see how I feel. If you follow here, you can know when I go live if you want to check out The Last of Us as well. I also might play board games with some of the nerds in chat. We'll see how the night goes. We'll see what I end up doing. But yeah, this Superman's done. Thank you for hanging out, and I'll see you next time.